You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
All right, welcome to another Founder Fridays. So if you're running a high-growth company right now, you probably feel like the rule book for marketing, for advertising, even for pricing strategy.
Oh, it's been completely shredded.
Right, just torn up and rewritten over the last couple of years. So today, we're taking all that intelligence that you shared with us, all the latest market shifts, consumer psychology, tactical playbooks, and we are just going to go straight for the core insights.
Exactly. This isn't about, just reviewing basic trends. It's about delivering those crucial little nuggets of knowledge that really distinguish the high-growth businesses right now.
Yeah.
We need precision, and that starts with understanding where consumer attention is actually being paid and where the budget needs to flow to meet them.
Okay, so let's start with that, the big picture. The dollars. I mean, total ad spend is forecast to rise again in 2026, which sounds great.
Yeah.
Like a rising tide lifts all boats.
It sounds like it, but who's really getting what? Structurally, the vast majority of that rising water is flowing right into the digital platforms. We're talking primarily Meta, YouTube, and TikTok.
No surprise there.
Not at all. And traditional media like linear TV, it's just continuing its decline. It's losing share, even when you factor in streaming ads. So if you're an entertainment company, you're at a huge disadvantage trying to attract smaller advertisers. You just can't compete with the scale and the data the big digital giants have.
So that concentration of power is just accelerating. But, okay, inside that digital space, there's this fascinating trend that keeps popping up. Let's talk about audio. Why are we seeing all these reports suggesting that simple audio is driving significantly better results than, glossy, big-budget video? It just feels so counterintuitive in a video-first world.
It does, but this finding is so actionable because the results are they're crystal clear. The data shows that audio podcast ads are driving anywhere from 18 to 25% more purchases than the equivalent YouTube video views.
18 to 25%. Wow.
Yeah, and the key is psychology. Specifically, it's the concept of intentionality.
Intentionality. So you mean I actively chose to listen to this specific thing? I wasn't just, passively scrolling past it in a feed.
Exactly, 100%. When a listener chooses an audio stream, they're often doing something else, driving, running, working, and they've intentionally placed that content, usually from a host they trust, directly into their ear.
It's a very intimate medium.
It is. It fosters what researchers call a parasocial relationship, that sense of connection that, passive video just often fails to replicate. You build real trust with that voice.
And that deep connection is what makes the message land differently. Is there any, physiological proof for that?
Oh, there is. Yep. Studies have shown a stronger physiological engagement from consumers with audio ads compared to video ads of the same content. We're talking about a higher heart rate, stronger skin response.
Wow.
Yeah. When the brain is paying closer attention, it means the cognitive load required to process the message is lower and the emotional resonance is higher. For founders, the takeaway is so clear. Don't dismiss the power of audio.
Okay, so that heightened attention is crucial. But it's only half the battle. The next thing we need to unpack connects these big market conditions to consumer behavior, and it highlights why perfect attention isn't enough. You have to earn their trust.
That is the strategic bedrock for 2026. The economic context it's everything. We are seeing this pervasive financial insecurity. I mean, one recent study said only 52% of consumers feel financially secure.
52%.
Right. And that leads to this profound risk aversion. Consumers today are just intolerant of friction. They're wary of taking a chance on an unknown brand.
Wait, that's interesting because I hear the opposite from a lot of founders. They think when the economy's uncertain, they should just default to cutting prices. Win on being cheap. You're saying that's the wrong move.
For a sustained growth strategy, yes, it's the wrong move. When financial security drops, customers prioritize reliability and recommendations far, far above a small price cut. Look, price implies utility, but trust implies certainty. And if you have to choose between three options, the one you know will deliver, the one that minimizes that decision fatigue, that's the one that wins loyalty. Trust becomes the core currency.
So if trust is the currency, what does that mean for content? Especially now, with AI promising to just flood every feed with perfectly polished but generic output?
It means quality gets a new definition, and that definition is authenticity.
Ah.
As AI content becomes ubiquitous, the value of human creators it just rises dramatically because credibility starts to outweigh technical polish. And we're seeing this signaled right from the top. Instagram is actively shifting to reward raw, informal content stuff that signals a real human made it. And they're deprioritizing templated, overly polished posts. Authenticity is becoming scarce.
That makes perfect sense. The goal is to signal a person who believes this made this. So give us a real-world example of a brand that leveraged this kind of organic trust instead of just forcing a message.
Oh, the Vaseline TikTok moment is a classic. It's a perfect example of sophisticated, real-time social listening. Users, especially younger ones, started sharing these incredibly creative, off-label hacks for Vaseline.
I saw some of these.
Right. Everything from stopping squeaky doors to making expensive perfumes last longer. It just went viral, completely organically.
So what did Unilever do? Just run ads against the trend?
No, and that's the brilliant part. Instead of trying to insert themselves with, glossy traditional ads, they just recognized the momentum. They had their own scientists validate the most popular claims.
Oh, smart.
Proving, for example, the physiological reason Vaseline might make perfume last longer. And then they amplified those scientific findings using the exact same creators who started the trend. They validated the community. They didn't just market to it.
That is a masterclass in building trust. You show up as a validator, not just a marketer. Okay, let's unpack that and shift into the founder's tactical playbook. So media's consolidated, trust is paramount. How are high-growth companies using pricing right now?
Pricing is no longer a static number. It's a really sophisticated growth lever to manage perceived value and steer behavior. And we're seeing 4 specific high-leverage approaches in action.
Okay, lay them out for us.
First is what I call strategic discount reduction. One company cut an Intro Pro AI discount from 50% down to 20%. This effectively raised the price of the add-on from $19 to $30. They didn't touch the list price of their core plan, but they made the add-on more expensive, which subtly steers users toward the core plan.
It's a very subtle way to raise revenue without a big price hike announcement. What's number 2?
Reducing friction. Another company cut its plans from 5 complex tiers down to just 2, and they moved most customers to a pay-as-you-go model. It removed usage caps, lowered decision friction, and boom, conversions went up. Third is personalized messaging, replacing a generic subscribe now banner with a message specific to what that user is actually trying to do.
So if I'm a small business, I see a message about saving time, but an enterprise user sees one about data security.
Precisely. And the fourth is promotional value enhancement. So instead of lowering the price, which can devalue the product, they're offering promotions by, say, increasing usage limits for paid users. You're adding value without touching the sticker price.
These all rely so heavily on perception, but there's a really counterintuitive insight here about price disclosure itself. When should a founder actually consider hiding the price tag?
This is a critical psychological insight. You should delay price disclosure for premium aspirational products, but you reveal the price immediately for affordable or discounted item. The data is so specific on this. Consumers were 21.1% more likely to buy an expensive espresso machine when the price only appeared after they added it to the cart.
After they've already emotionally committed to owning it.
Exactly. Delaying the reveal lets the customer focus on the value, the quality, all the aspirational stuff first. It mitigates the sticker shock. But conversely, for a cheaper item, like a machine that's 30% off, people were 18.1% less likely to buy when the sale price appeared after a click.
Because the whole point is the savings.
Right. The value proposition is, I am saving money, and they need to confirm that immediately. Otherwise, you're just introducing friction.
That is so actionable. Okay, moving on from pricing, let's look at scaling. How do brands like Lemmy sequence their channels? Because you can't just launch straight into Walmart.
No, it's all about intentional sequencing. Each channel serves a specific purpose. For Lemmy, they started DTC, direct-to-consumer. That was their story and testing ground. They could iterate quickly, build that user-generated content engine, and establish authenticity.
I see.
Then they leveraged that success for a move into Target, which was crucial market validation. It was a credibility signal. And only once that was secure were they ready for Walmart, which delivered the true scale.
Every step was a strategic stepping stone. We see that same kind of intentionality with Venmo's growth, right? They didn't grow just by being a utility.
Not at all. They made payments social. They built the experience around a public feed with emojis and notes. The interaction became almost as important as the transaction. And because transactions were visible, every time you paid a friend, it was a built-in micro-advertisement for the brand.
That's how you engineer virality.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's shift to the sharp end of execution. For any founder working on content, the ground is just completely shifted. AI is replacing search result lists. So how do we change how we write to make sure we're visible to these new AI answers?
The rules of SEO are no longer about ranking on page 1. They're about entering what are called retrieval windows and earning citations. Because the AI answers are replacing those lists. If you're not cited, you don't exist.
So how do we get cited?
The crucial tactic is to concentrate all your credibility signals in the absolute beginning of your content. AI systems prioritize the first 200 words of a page for context and credibility.
The first 200 words?
Yep. Think of it as the new abstract. Pages that open with clear definitions and immediate purpose are 38% more likely to be cited by an AI.
So we need to stop warming up the reader with flowery intros
Yeah.
and just get straight to the point in the first few paragraphs.
Precisely. If you bury the lead, the AI just won't dig for it. And speed matters immensely. Fast servers, we're talking under 200 milliseconds, get 3 times more Googlebot requests. If you're not fast, you're not getting indexed efficiently. And here's a really technical constraint: content length.
Tell us about the length constraint.
So Google uses what's described as a fixed grounding budget. You can think of it as the AI's attention span for one query, and that budget is about 2,000 words. Yeah. If your article is much longer than that, the AI just hits its limit before it reads your most critical points. The coverage drops dramatically. So concise, dense content is now fundamentally more effective than long, sprawling pages.
That requirement for conciseness and intent, it really mirrors what Silicon Valley insiders are focusing on with their own productivity.
With their systems, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's something we talk about a lot here on Vocal Technologists, right? The value of systems over just simple hacks. It's about building an infrastructure that removes friction internally.
It's all about reducing context switching. We're seeing leaders build systems to analyze their own operations. For example, the CEO of Zapier uses a stack that's heavy on AI for cultural analysis. They use tools like Granola to record and transcribe all their meetings, then use AI to analyze those transcripts against cultural patterns.
So AI becomes an analytical system, not just a content generator.
Absolutely. They take that analysis and build what they call Zapier agents, which evaluate candidate transcripts against their cultural fit, and then email structured hiring recommendations. And for talent sourcing, they use systems like Grok to find and target niche experts who are chronically online discussing specific topics so they can hire way outside of the usual tech hubs.
That focus on systems and efficiency brings us to the ultimate metric. We've talked about media, trust, pricing, AI. But for a founder, what is the single top-level metric that cuts through all the complexity?
They need to be focused on the marketing efficiency ratio, or MEAR. This is simply total revenue divided by total marketing spend.
Okay, just to clarify, why is that better than, say, tracking the return on ad spend or ROAS for every channel?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
MEAR gives you the clean top-level pulse of business's health. ROAS is very channel-specific, and it's prone to attribution arguments, right? Did the Facebook ad or the podcast mention really close the deal? MEAR just cuts through all of that noise.
I see.
If your MEAR is 5.0, you know you generated $5 in total revenue for every $1 you spent on all marketing. It doesn't matter where the final click came from.
It's a clean figure that holds the entire marketing operation accountable.
Precisely. It works best when you track it consistently over time and pair it with other metrics like ROAS and, of course, the crucial one, LTV, or lifetime value. But MEAR is your day-to-day strategic pulse check.
So what does this all mean for you as a founder heading into 2026? We've seen money consolidating in digital, but specific formats like audio are surging. We've established authenticity and reliability are non-negotiable trust drivers. And execution and pricing, scaling, and AI search is now defined by extreme precision and conciseness.
And the overarching lesson here connects right back to our first discussion on trust and friction. Our analysis highlights how humans, both as consumers and founders, often design systems that deliver short-term ease but ignore long-term trade-offs. Some people call it a misery premium.
A misery premium.
Yeah. Customers today are so risk-averse, their tolerance for any self-imposed misery or unnecessary steps is basically non-existent. So the final thought we want to leave you with is this: be vigilant about the systems you're designing today. What short-term convenience are you introducing into your product or your customer journey that might accidentally create devastating friction, risk, or frustration for your loyal customer tomorrow? That trade-off is precisely where long-term loyalty lives or dies.
Spoken Tech for your ears.